Hello and welcome to my channel. Today we are gonna be doing a movie review of the 365 days. It's supposed to be a romantic movie, but I cannot find it okay, I don't find it that romantic. It is kind of a cringy movie. So before we start, I'm gonna say this. If you have not watched this movie before, please do not watch this review because this is a review. So, spoiler alert. Yes, absolutely 100% spoiler alert. So, let's get into it and let's get into this. So, we're gonna start with the starting and now I'm gonna come back with my commentary as we go on with this movie. So that was the intro, and then you saw like mountains and all of that for the intro. And then this particular scene here, you saw, the regular, what happens normally in 365 days. You know, they were supposed to be getting married. Instead, Maximus was doing he was actually being his usual self. And Lara friend, I can't remember her name. Lord knows I tried, but it wasn't sticking. She came up and she found both of them together, you know, and then she was like, "Oh my God, what are you doing? You're not supposed to be together. Respect the Polish tradition and all of that." And Maximus like had a little bit of something to say, but we're gonna just take a little bit of this clip and then we're gonna see, and I'm gonna come back with that so you can just a little snip of what happened. So, swear to God, that was cringy as hell. I mean, but I'm gonna before we go deeper into this topic, I want to say thank you to all those people that do movie reviews, because especially when you have to do some clips and you're not supposed to show a full clip, like you have to show a very very short clip or else you're gonna pay. With that being said, I'm gonna say this. Thank you to those people that really do movie reviews. It is draining. Like, it is very draining. With that being said, like, now I'm gonna be sincere for the review. It is a little bit cringy. It is very very cringy. I had like a note written and I don't think I can read everything that was written in my note. I'm gonna be sincere, I cannot read everything that was written in the note that I took. But the whole movie was full of cringe. I'm sorry. I know some people think it's maybe a romantic movie, kind of like very, very cringy for me. Like the first one was very cringy with the whole kidnapping thing and the whole baby girl thing. Oh, if you miss the word baby girl, uh, you're not gonna miss it for long because it's coming back. Yeah, they used the word again. I was like, please, I thought that was only part one or season. It was even not a season, part one. Why are we going to use that word again? That was cringy then, it's still cringy now. So, you know what? Let's go back. Let's go back into this topic. See, the movie is interesting, but in a very cringy way. Very, very cringy way. So in the next scene, after the marriage, they went to the church and they did all of that, blah, blah, blah. They got married. And then they went to the bedroom. And Laura proceeded to, tie Maximus to the chair. She proceeded to tie him to the chair. Not only that, so she just lay on the bed and play with herself. I mean, I've never felt more cringe in my life. I mean, this movie gave me cringe the first time, it's still giving me cringe. Like, Then she proceeded to play with herself on the bed. And then she went to him like, she went to him and then she looked at him. I think here, in this particular scene. Hold on a second. So she went to him and say, do he should do her the way he likes, and then do some maximum jumping, like it was like you were sitting down 1 second and you just jumped like a goddamn frog all up on her. I don't want to do the whole interpretation of this movie because I swear to God, there were so many cringe. I was like, cringe the whole time watching this movie. But I said, you know what, I'm gonna make the movie review anyway. After that part, we saw the next scene was with Laura's friend, and I don't know if it's a business partner of Maximus or if it's somebody's on the like Maximus is the boss of him. We saw Laura's friend, fooling around with this guy, and then they had cake and everything. You know what? I have like a very, very short clip. I hope this is allowed because I made it very, very short. I didn't want to have it for so long in this, but we're gonna show it anyways. So Maximus proceeded to say when he's wearing a normal suit and not a cake. And I'm like, bruh, you shouldn't be the one throwing stones. Because when it comes to this movie, you ain't that innocent. But it's so cringy because the French and this guy, I don't know how long they've been together because it's like, oh, you left me alone to meet your friends and to talk about business, and the guy just came with Rose and he was undressing himself and all of that. And all of a sudden, you know, I already said this movie was cringy. The first one, this one is nothing less but cringe too. So, he proceeded to say he has to talk about business. But this is the thing. I still don't understand what kind of business Maximo is doing. All that we all know about is he's into the mafia and all the mafia things. And I'm like, okay, but you're into what kind of what side of mafia? What are you doing? What are you dealing on? But, it proceeded from that part to the next scene. And it was just cringe the whole time. I think the next one. But what was interesting was Paula and her friend. You can see her friend over here with the cake, talking about she's in love. She met this guy. And I'm like, okay, I don't understand what this movie it's like. This movie is just perfectly made. You could just call this movie porn with people shooting each other. With some people acting the buzz, and we don't even know what kind of business they're doing on. They just like, I'm the mafia boss, I'm the this and the that. And to be fair, it's like 90% porn and 10%, 5% shopping, and like the other 5%, no, 2% people shooting each other, and the other 3%, like whatever fits into the movie. So at last, Maximus left with the cake boy. I call him cake boy because, you got cake like smeared all over him with all of that. And the next scene, let me see. The next scene, we see Laura with her friend. I think doing, this is actually not the next scene. Hold on. This is totally not the next scene because we had the golf cart where she was spreading her leg, and Maximus was hitting the ball to. I'm gonna see this. You're gonna have to see the movie to see what I'm talking about. But with that being said, before we got to the friend, and then we got to that part, and now we got to a scene where Laura and her friend were eating in the restaurant, and talking about things that are unreally important, because I didn't find most of the conversation that important. It's like, hey, sex, bus, mafia, and people shooting gun. And we're gonna get to it. We're gonna still get into it more and more. So this was the scene where Laura and her friend were just sitting down, drinking, having a meal. But the next scene, it was like Maximus, Laura and her friend were at the beach, and then Maximus came later and was like, "We gotta go." And Laura was like talking to her friend in Polish, and then he had to say it again, and then they had to leave. But you know what? We're gonna play that scene too again. Let's go. Yeah, and I mean, my dude came out from honeymoon with all the sex and all of that into we're living. I'm sorry, but it is so funny. Like what I said, this movie is cringy. Like it's very cringy. I mean, it's just like I said, 90% sex and the rest. I don't know what the fuck is happening in this movie. You know what? I don't know how to even rate the movie. I really don't because I'm just watching it. And another thing, I noticed they have like in Netflix another movie. It's like a documentary from Marilyn Monroe, and I understand a lot of people with like unsubscribing to Netflix, but I don't really blame them. With that being said, we're gonna go to the next scene. Let's go to the wait. I gotta look at my note over here. Excuse me, because I had like a note written for this, like my whole Jesus Christ. It was all of nothing, just So when he said they were leaving, they finally left. They actually finally, she left with her friend. And I think, so I get that, after that they left, and and then she decided to confront Maximus about his behavior, well, because she was with a friend and she doesn't like that and all of that, blah blah blah. You know what, let's just get into that, and I'm gonna come back because I understand that Laura was like, you know what, in the beginning this relationship, it was sick. Homegirl married his ass. Girl, you married his ass. You said yes. You went back to Poland. He followed you and you followed him back, and then you married him. Like, go please. We ain't gonna act like, because you're doing something that men. This movie, I'm gonna say, is kind of a man's fantasy. I know a lot of people think this is a woman's fantasy. No, this is a man's fantasy. Like, you can be masculine and all kind of gaslighting and all of that bullshit, and women are just gonna be like, you know what, just treat me better. Girl, I think we all know you shouldn't have married Maximus from the start. Like, he kidnapped you, kidnapper. Are you listening to that? Kidnapping. He kidnapped you. He tried to get his way, and he told you, "Oh, I'm not gonna touch you unless you ask me to." Like, if you watch the first one that came out of 369 days, 65 days, you will understand what I mean. So I'm like looking at Laura with all the bullshit that happened in the first movie. You're gonna tell me now you got married to Maximus, and now you're telling him, I know he was. You know what? Let's get into this, and I'm gonna give you my full statement. Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna say this. Laura needs therapy. Laura needs therapy. She definitely needs therapy. This is what is the name of this when you attracted to somebody that treats you very bad? Laura gave me that kind of woman. She gave me. I can't remember the name. Why can't I remember the name? I have this all the time in my head. You know what? She's addicted to this toxic kind of crappy ass relationship. Yeah. Like, you kidnapped me, but I married you because I love you, because I want this relationship. I'm like, this movie makes 50 Shades of Grey look. I didn't even watch the first 50 Shades of Grey, but this movie makes 50 Shades of Grey look good. I'm gonna say it makes 50 Shades of Grey looks like a platinum. So you know what? Let's go back. And you know what the funny part of it? After she done talk all this business, oh, I don't like this and that, all of a sudden this is what came up next. Lord have mercy. Yeah, I think we're gonna pass. Oh, the cringe! I swear to God, I think this should get the award for the cringiest movie. Like, there she got all those toys laid down after she done talk all the business. You know, yeah, Maxie, I don't like to be controlled. I like challenges. I'm like, girl, please, you give me another kind of vibes. So, after all of those talks, homegirl proceeded to go and get herself some toys laid all on the side of the bed and saying, I trust you. Oh, and I remember the first time he came in, he said, I remember this. And she was like, I think it's the same, it's the one. And she's like, it is only missing the lion. I'm like, I swear to God, this movie came out from a man's fantasy. I know people be like, it was a woman fantasized about this. Kidnapping? Yeah, we get a pass. We get a pass. And she was like, oh, I know that you kind of look a little bit of rapey kind of, you're giving me rapey kind of vibe the first time now. I'm gonna marry your ass, and all of these shenanigans is just gonna continue. Yeah. And let's not forget, all of this time, Laura have still not told Maximus that she was pregnant and she lost the baby. She has still not told him, so she's just enjoying the high life, enjoying herself, you know, playing all these foreplays. And then at last, you know, this particular scene, she went with her friend. And when she went with they went for shopping. Like, if I have to, like, give the review for all of the movie, it's gonna be very, very long, but I don't have time. We're gonna cut to the how fast we can get, so we can get this over with, you know. So she went with a friend over here for shopping, so I think I'm just gonna go back here and then go back here, and then we're gonna go there. So this way, the time they went for shopping, I swear to God, this movie really doesn't make sense to me. Like, Netflix, please do better. Like, I love the movie. What was the name? The Witcher. Movie like The Witcher, that makes a lot more sense. Netflix is not giving us what we actually want anymore. Like, you can scroll through Netflix for 2 days looking for something to watch. I can't find anything. I'm gonna tell you, I see more Chinese things or Asian things in the TV more than I see any movie that I actually really want to watch. I'm sorry, but this is a review, and it is what it is. So as you can see, the lady that was in charge of the shop, she was not really happy. She had faces made, and she was like watching them like, See, this movie review, I'm gonna say the truth. Okay, so I'm gonna say this. Watching a full movie and trying to do a movie review is like, there are some scenes that you're like, why the hell is that like this particular shopping one, and then Laura going downstairs and her friend like following her, asking her what's wrong, and she was like, I'm just mad at Max Milano, we have to talk. And I'm like, girl, you let's not even get this started. You know what? Then the next scene comes with them going to a ball. And this is the next scene here. I'll do my best to look. All conversations are more important than one with me. Yeah, you heard me sigh. Like, they don't really talk. She and Maximus, they don't really have an actual conversation in the whole movie. Yes, I'm gonna let you know now. Like, I get bored. I'm like, it's just sex with them, and sex and sex and sex and some unnecessary things happening in this movie. I'm like, oh my god. And then later on, oh yeah, we're gonna get into that, but I'm not gonna rush it because God knows I really want to rush it and just get over with this. But and every time she tries to talk to him, he has this attitude. He comes out with this attitude. I'm like, we ain't gonna do it. We ain't gonna be doing this, but I'm gonna say this. This movie is boring. It is a little bit boring. I think with sexual part, yeah, when it comes to sex, they show like 10, like more than half of the movie is about sex. Like, I'm gonna say 90%. It should have just been called porn. You know what? Yeah. And he was like, we're talking business. Maximiliano, darling, we don't know what kind of business you do. We just know you're in the mafia. And we're just like, what kind of business? Like, every time I'm talking business, business, business. What is the business? What's the business? Okay, you know what? Let's just keep going. So yeah, you can see Laura watching, because this time she found a guy that looked like a husband. Yay! Yeah, she found out there was a guy that looked like a husband. And although she was at the table this time, you can see her face, the way she looked, like sad. I'm like, Laura, I haven't seen you and Maxie had an actual conversation the whole of the movie. Like, I haven't seen them have an actual conversation. But I've seen them have more sex than any kind of conversation. The conversation always lasts like maybe around 10 seconds. Even not up to a minute. I swear, it's not up to, I don't think their conversation lasts up to a minute. But what lasts longer for them is more sex than conversation. Well, okay. Yeah, you can see the ball. And here you see the guy. I'm not gonna blow it yet. That he looks so much like Maximus. And he had another lady. So Laura was looking up this time and watching the guy. Like, what is happening? Why is my husband up there with this strange lady? What is happening? So they disappeared on this path. They left. And she followed them. So she followed them. Wait. We are not going to get there yet. We are not going to get there yet. So she followed them. And to the room where, they were doing it. And she came inside the room and the lady looked at her and just smiled. And Laura didn't say anything. So she just turned back and left. With her leaving, while she was leaving, this other guy, the gardener, oh my God, I forgot about the side of the gardener where she met the guy. You know what, we're just going to continue. There was a guy he pretended because that was what he did, to be a gardener. So, this guy's name was, what was his name? Let me look. I think I wrote it somewhere. Hold on. Is it Nacho? Let me see. Pardon me. I understand you can hear my notes because it was a full note for this. Okay, what was his name? Nacho. Okay. So she met this guy while she was sitting down one time in the vineyard, relaxing. I think she was having a glass of wine, and this guy came out, and his name was Nacho. He had this ripped jean, like a singlet with all the tattoos and the muscles. Yeah, he was really looking so hard with a face cap. I was like, no, another one. So he was like, my name is Nacho. I am the gardener. Laura was like, I feel useless. I'm just sitting down here while people are cutting my flowers, cutting my grass, cooking my food, and serving me. I feel like a useless housewife. And he was like, oh, Laura, what are you talking about? Being a housewife is the hardest job. I'm like, oh. Okay, buddy, but you're doing too much. Okay, then Apart from this particular scene where Laura found a guy that looked like a husband smashing another woman, she got mad and went with Nacho. So she left the ball or whatever that was, and Nacho came with a car and he was like, vroom, vroom. Are you okay? And she was like, get me out of here. I'm like, Jesus Christ, you don't even know this guy. Like, can we wait and know who the fuck we going with? You know your husband is in the mafia job. You're just gonna hop into somebody's car. Like, you would be the most easiest mafia wife to be kidnapped. With that being said, we're gonna go to the next one. This is where Laura's mother decided she was gonna confront Maximus because she got a text message on her phone. That was the weakest slap I've ever seen in my life. Okay, Laura's mother, I'm just gonna finish this. She was like, I know you're a bad person. My daughter should never have gotten with you, and you can't stop me. My husband is already in the car. And I'm like, wait, he can, for you to tell your son-in-law that he can stop you, and now you're like, I know you are a bad person. Like, lady, if you know he could stop you while you are leaving, he's already a bad person. So you know who your daughter is getting married to. Like, and that slap, that was the weakest slap I've ever seen in my life. So Maximus proceeded to having a meeting with this lady over here that you see, and I don't know her name, like the rest of the people in this show or in this movie that nobody really says their name a lot. It's just, they're just there. And even when they say their name, it's not really catchy. So maybe you hear it one freaking time and you never hear it in the whole movie anymore. So this lady over here was the one that was fooling with, the guy that looked like Maximus. And she was like, you know what, let's bring our family together. Let's unite. Let's unite, Let's bring this business together. And Maximus was like, I feel like you had something to do with this. I feel like you had something to do with it. And I'm going to find out. And you're going to pay. And then the next clip, I don't think I have the next clip here. I don't think I have it. No, I don't. So the next clip, it was shown, we saw this lady with Maximus's brother. I can't even remember what the fuck that guy's name is. Because the brother, you know what? I can't remember the name of Maximus's twin brother. I can't remember his name. So the next thing you saw him and this lady over here, talking about, the lady was complaining, like, I told you he was not gonna buy it. I told you this was not gonna work. And then there was like a guy that came in to tell them something. I can't remember what the fuck it was. And then Maximus twins proceeded to shooting the guy in the head, and the guy died. Yep. And then we moved into another scene with Laura with this guy called Nacho. She just met him, and she was living in his beach house, his condo, enjoying herself, surfing, kissing the guy, sexual contact. There was like a lot of sexual scene. Like you just met this guy, Laura. Like, girl, please, you know what? I'm not gonna even judge, but they were doing too much, and then he took her to the beach after they were surfing. He was like talking. I can't remember what he said here. Oh, she asked him, oh, this is a nice place. And he said, in this particular scene, this is where I bring all my Polish girlfriend. And she said, do they escape you? And he was like, no, they don't. Like, that was supposed to be sexy. That is creepy. That gave me kidnapping vibes. Like, are we supposed to be turned on by this creepy ass movie? Lord help us all. So you know what? We're gonna go to the next one. Yeah. After the sex scene and all of that, he proceeded to introduce her to his sister. And let's not forget, they had an attack after they had sex and all of that shenanigans. Somebody attacked them and he killed that guy. I mean, the movie is just, yeah. Whoever is trying to cover this movie, you're gonna find it frustrating. The sister looks pretty though. The sister, even I didn't catch the name of the sister because I don't think they even said her name. Oh, this is my sister. I see you ladies later. And then the next scene we saw Nacho with her dad, with his dad, and the dad was like saying something, and he got mad. And then he gave me anger management, bipolar kind of guy. Like every man in this movie is giving me bipolar, narcissistic kind of behavior. So he went to swim, so he dived out and screamed and punched the water. I'm like, is this supposed to be sexy? Because this is frightening me. This is seriously frightening me. What the fuck was to be with this kind of people? Is this what men have turned into, bipolar monsters? Okay, let's just start. So the next scene, yeah, you can see this is the father at the time that the dad was talking to him. I don't know, we don't know what they were really talking about. And this is the hold on before we get into that. So Laura noticed that the father was talking to him, and then they went back home. So when they went back home, Laura talked to Nacho and said, okay, who are you? Another dad. And he was like, I am. And then he disclosed his full name. So he went to the beach and started swimming. And then when he came back, Laura was like, who were you and this and that? I shouldn't trust you. You know what? Let's get that scene in here.
I am Marcelo Nacho Matos, son of Don Fernando Matos.
Weird. I swear to God, that is weird. I am Marcellus. Not. Is that supposed to make any difference? Like, guy, you creepy. With the way he looked down and then looked up, I'm like, Jesus Christ, is he about to attack somebody? Like, this movie is giving me creepy vibe. If you guys want me to do more movie reviews, please comment on this movie so that I can know. I have a lot of movies that I want to review for you guys if you want more movie reviews. And with that being said, we're going to move on to the next one. I hope this one is the one that I like. So, back to this part. You know, the father decided to organize a meeting between Marcellus and, you know, Marcellus, for those who don't know who Marcellus is, he's Nacho. So it's Marcellus, Nacho, what the fuck ever the other name was. Because I'm not out over here cramming, like remembering people's name 24/7 and writing the whole, like, I swear to God, I could write a whole scripture with the time I used to write the commentary for this movie. So the father decided to hold a meeting with Maximus and Marcella and telling Maximus that he doesn't like the fact that he's expanding his business and all of that. And Maximus was not happy with that. The man was talking about me and your father. We were honorable. Your father was an honorable mafia. We had a rule between each other and all of that shenanigans. And then told him, you know what, I have your wife. I gave her to my security so that they can keep her secured. And the son was like, which security? Because there was another person that took Laura. And then he looked at him like, he was surprised that that was not the person he actually sent.
You expanded too much. Some people don't like it.
Yeah, that was what happened in that scene. It was like some people who, some people you. Yeah, before he found out that Laura was missing. So when they both found out that Laura had been missing, they decided to go and search for her. This photo was taken while they were both going to look for her together. I think I have another photo. Yeah. So they went to go and look for her. And this photo here, yes, this is the one. And then Laura saw this guy that looked like Maximus, so she went after him like, you're the worst thing that ever happened to me. Then she looked at his hand and noticed he didn't have the tattoo. So she was like, you are not Maximus. Say, oh, excuse me. Yeah, we've been watching this crappy movie and we've been getting tired. Can we just wrap this shit up? So She went to him and she was like, "Who are you?" And he was like, "Oh, complaining about, oh, he was born. I think is it 10 or 20 seconds or 20 minutes after him. Oh, all of a sudden he's the one." And just complaining. God knows, I didn't even pay any attention to that. I didn't, because I was getting tired and sleepy. So while he was complaining about his life, about his brother taking over, about him being the reason why the father is dead, and well, why he think he didn't want anybody in front of him, he didn't want anybody to challenge him. His brother took over the business, all the shenanigans that actually doesn't make sense. Then this other lady over here showed up. She was like, "Don't worry, I'm not gonna leave you alone with him." I'm like, all right, okay, where is it now? And she was like, "Oh, Maximus, he played with the wrong one or something like so, and he is not gonna get away with this, all of that." And then we went to the next one again. Maximus and what is it, Marcellus decided to appear, and then I wonder how they found out where they were. Did they leave a note and say, "Find me here" or "Find me there"? Because, and then what is his name? Marcellus was like, "I told you to wait until the topic is finished, but you are here," because the father of Marcellus, wanted to give Maximus's place to the brother, to help the brother take the place so that they can actually control the brother. But it didn't actually work out. So they pointed gun at each other, as you can see in this clip, and I'm like, okay, what is happening? And long enough, I didn't really pay attention after that. And the brother was like, "Okay, I wonder if her child would have looked like you, or if the child would have looked like her." That was when Maximus realized that Laura was pregnant before. And then Marcel was like pointing the gun at the lady, pointing the gun, like everybody pointing the gun at each other at this point. And to be fair, the conversation was just dull. Yeah, you can see all the scene here. We are. Yeah, you saw that. And then the next clip over here. Yeah, so Laura got shot, the other lady got shot, and Maximus' brother got shot, and we don't know if Laura made it or not, because Maximus was just trying to carry her and do all of that and checking on her, while Marcellus left. So both Laura, Maximus's brother, and the other girlfriend of his, or I don't know, partner, everybody were laying on the floor. And if you notice one thing with Laura, she got shot around the stomach area, so we don't know if she made it or not. And that was where the movie ended. So with that being said, I'm gonna say this: please like and subscribe, and if you want to hear me do more movie reviews, please put it down on the comment section, and I will see you next time. Have a great day and goodbye.